So let's say you're traveling to Europe and Iceland Air is one of the options for you. And you notice that they've got this intriguing option that you can stop over for free for 2 nights or more. Is that an offer you should take them up on? Well, maybe these pictures will answer the question for you. They certainly do for me. We are so glad that on our trip to Scotland, we came back through Iceland and stopped over there. And it was simple to set it up. And as always, we're trying to travel on a relatively reasonable budget. So the best place to stop after you land is at the Costco on the way to the Golden Circle. We could have done a lot of different things in the 2 days, and I don't think you could go wrong, but the Golden Circle worked great for us, and so did Costco, as it always does. But you might want to get a currency calculator. It was tough to do the exchange in my head, and you might balk at a hot dog that costs $2.99 something when it's only $2.16. Within 45 minutes, Costco, you're at your first waterfall. We saw a lovely rainbow as the rain started to let up. And then we drove on from there to our hotel through a national park. We were a little wasted, so we didn't stop in the national park that day. We came back to it and got checked into our hotel, Hotel Laugervatten. Nothing special, but at $125, centrally located, perfectly adequate. In fact, even kind of cozy, no regrets there. And again, being centrally located in the Golden Circle was really advantageous. They've even got a restaurant built in there. I'll show you their menu and something from it a little later. And a view overlooking the lake. So the next morning we got up, and because it was colder than we expected in mid-May, we stopped at the gift shops in Geyser, and they were amazing gift shops. I rarely buy things there, but we bought some Icelandic wool here that made our little walks that day much more enjoyable than they otherwise would have been. Then we went to this waterfall that was truly stunning, kind of a mini Niagara waterfall. My words won't do it justice. Even these pictures don't do it justice. So I'll just let you soak it in for a minute. By the way, all these waterfalls make a heck of a backdrop for photos of families or couples or individuals. So you might come prepared for that. After that waterfall, we headed back down to Geyser, just a little geothermal area. It pales in comparison to Yellowstone, but they've got one really nice feature that Yellowstone doesn't. This little geyser goes off fairly consistently every 5 or 10 minutes, so you can keep your camera on and catch the moment of eruption like my brother-in-law did with this shot. That alone made Geyser, which is the original Geyser where we get the word, worth a quick visit. After Geyser, we then went to a restaurant for lunch. We wanted to eat somewhere off the beaten path, something we couldn't get at Wendy's at home. So we went to this farm-to-table restaurant we'd read about, and wow, it gives new meaning to farm-to-table. The owners have operated in their family this farm for literally centuries. There's something, I don't know, more than quaint about eating in a place that has that kind of history and that kind of intimacy. They had some great options, and there was no wait because it was mid-May and a little cold, and we were there maybe right at noon or just a little before. I understand from things I read online that in the summer this can get really busy, but it was great food. I went with the soup and bread buffet, which was delightful. You eat as much as you want, and it tasted great. You get this unique view from your window where you look down and can see the cows. So if you're eating a beef dish, maybe you don't want to make eye contact with these guys. After lunch, we backtracked a little bit. If you got up earlier in the morning, you could just hit this waterfall on the way to lunch. We had debated whether to see this, but wow, it was one of the highlights for us. And it sounded like there was much more of a hike than there actually was because we were able to drive. So it's 0.72 total hike or walk. And it's the bluest waterfall in Iceland. That's its claim to fame, but just a gorgeous set of cascading falls. Again, a great place to come and get some pictures. We went down near the waterfall and climbed out there to get these photos that we were really happy with. And then under the bridge is where we took these photos, and you get more of the blue water. After that, we headed back over to the national park, and we started with this hike, which you can actually access from multiple angles. We did it just from the first one that we came to. Again, I can't quite pronounce the name of the waterfall. But it's a pleasant little hike. We could have done it from the visitor center and hit this, extending the other walk we ended up taking. You go through some interesting scenery and see a great waterfall. And then on the other side, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, most of the hikes we went on were really more walks. When we added them all up, we got plenty of miles, but we didn't really end up taking any longer hikes like we'd hoped to. And then you can see these different parking lots. From the various parking lots, you can access this, and if you've got limited mobility, you can park much closer than we did to see this beautiful waterfall. After that, we went to the visitor center, which is a nice little national park visitor center, and hiked a little loop of trails that took us down to what they claim is the world's oldest parliament. I kept wondering if there were some ruins there, but it was an outdoor parliament, so that you just see the place. And they celebrated here with a huge celebration when Iceland claimed its independence in something like 1948. So just a really beautiful, peaceful area with waterfalls and great vistas, and even an old church. There's the site of the ancient parliament. There's also an old church there. There was a church built in this area originally in about AD 1000, and then moved to this particular spot about 1500 AD. And this church that you'll see is not built until the 19th century, I guess making it new by European standards, but still a delightful little church. And near the church is the summer residence of the Prime Minister of Iceland. It ain't Balmoral, but quaint little cottages there for the Prime Minister to get away to. Again, a short walk of loops with beautiful views. After doing that, we went home to dinner. We were going to go to something called the Cozy Cafe, but it's under reconstruction, so we went to our hotel, and there were some decent options. In fact, this one's called a stew. I've never seen a stew that's not in a bowl, but it was great. And there are hot springs everywhere. We went to the hot springs right near our hotel, much less expensive than Blue Lagoon, not as fancy as Blue Lagoon. If I went back again, I'd probably hit Blue Lagoon. I might hit multiple hot springs, but they've got a variety of pools of different temperatures, saunas, and you're right next to a lake, so that after you get thoroughly heated up, you can go out in the lake and try your cold water therapy. It was pretty cold, but definitely reinvigorating. So we loved Fontana Hot Springs. So all that was in one day. The next day we got up and we were going to a hot spring that I was really excited about because it was in nature. You do a hike, a 4.9 mile round trip hike, and get to sit in the river. People on all trails raved about it, but none of them told me you can't really quite get there with a rental car to the trailhead. So if you can get to the trailhead, I highly recommend this. Next time I'm going to get something other than a sedan so that we can get to that trailhead. I'm looking forward to checking this one out, but this is as far as we got with our sedan before we thought we better turn around and not do any damage to our rental car. I can't tell if it's because it was cloudier the first day as we drove in or there was just more to see, but on the southern part of the Golden Circle, we saw more geyser activity. And in fact, we stopped at this little place and we could just walk out right through the geysers and some bubbling mud pots. So another delightful place. Again, if I had known we weren't going to be able to make it to that geyser, we would have planned better for our last morning, and maybe done something else in Reykjavik or gone to the Blue Lagoon. But instead, we just went into Reykjavik, hit a shop. Thought it would be nice to go downtown Reykjavik and see it. I'm a sucker for bubbling mud. Oh, and this place had saunas with windows where you could look out onto the geothermal field. So anyway, we went back to Reykjavik, which was pretty much on the way to the airport. Don't forget, there's a Reykjavik domestic airport, but KEF, Keflavik, that's the one you want to go to. Anyway, we shopped, went to one shop, but the stuff was pretty pricey. So we went to, we saw the water, but rather than go to the water, we checked out a botanical garden downtown. And it was delightful in May. I'm guessing a few weeks or months later, there'll be even more stuff in bloom. So nice to see that side of Iceland. So that was it, a 2-day stopover that really didn't cost us anything extra in terms of airfare, and it was like getting 2 vacations in one. So I highly recommend doing the stopover in Iceland for free if you're traveling to Europe via Iceland Air. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.